Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
Hey guys, today we're joined with Brett Zandis, or better known as Coach Little Z23. And today he actually switched it up. He's wearing a white hat, so hopefully you guys noticed that. Normally it's a black hat, so we're happy to see that. We've talked a lot about introductions and stuff, but let's talk about him as a leader. He's been a leader for over the last 50 years. Since he was a little kid all the way to now, he's always been a leader, trying to get people to do better, to be better, and to ultimately reach their goals. It started off when he was a kid, like he said. He was the one that was making the play so that they would win in just intramural football. It didn't matter who won, it was just there to play, but he wanted to win. And then it moved on into college when, like he said, he worked from 3 to 5 in the morning as a preschooler, or to watch preschoolers, then went to school, then did track all full time, and then it just moved on and on to now where he's owned multiple businesses, built one of the best after school programs in the nation. It's just spectacular what he's done, and now he's moving into this digital world where he's going to be posting on YouTube, social media, live streaming, and it can help multiple people across the nation and even the world. I think that he'll be one of the leading, if not the leader, in systems, and that's what we've talked about multiple times. Everything comes back to systems. And so it's just amazing to see what he's going to talk to us about, what we can learn from him, not only as a business person, but as a husband, a wife, a son, a kid. It helps everyone and anybody. It doesn't matter what you're trying to accomplish. So I really hope that you guys are paying attention and taking notes and can learn a lot from him.
As a wife? If you nobody's wife.
No, you can help wives.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. You can help wives. Sorry if I didn't make that clear.
No, I'm just laughing.
Gotcha. So today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurs again, but we're going to be talking about more of like characteristics, behaviors, different things like that. So is there anything that you would like to start off talking about before we get started?
No, yes. Well, I always say no, and then I go right into it. I was just thinking about one of the systems, and this is why, I think people can be grabbed and grasped by systems, which is one of the systems. So I started a league fantasy football like 4 years ago.
Okay.
And then that led me into playing for money, right?
Okay.
And so I look back at my first lineup.
Yes.
And it's a half point PPR, and I scored like 82 points. Now, anybody that knows fantasy football, that's not real good. But last year, I actually won a lineup. There was 27,000 entries, and I won a lineup. And then I think the week later, I took second, had plenty of fours. Last weekend, I was 11th. And to me, it's not so much that I'm knowledgeable. I'm too busy to watch football and stuff. Yeah. But I have a system that I developed, and it took me a couple years to kind of play with it and stuff. But to me, that's what for the entrepreneur is. If you already have the mental capacity to do some things, if you can, I call that the art, the talent, and you can meld that or marriage that with what I call the science, which is systems. To me, that's a home run. And so I was just, I don't know why that popped in my head, but I was like, well, if you're going to brag on me, I might as well say I did win.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So let's jump into just what is an entrepreneur? Can you define it for us? Yeah,
I mean, they've got the Webster's definition, which mainly I think is around business.
Right.
But to me, it's just somebody who is interested in capitalizing on something.
Okay.
And so I think some people, there's business entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. They may start up a business. They may take over a business and then help it to grow. They may take over a business and help it to grow and then scale. There's that kind of entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There's the entrepreneur that I say kind of cashes in on trends. So you remember Cash for Gold?
Yes.
So that was a trend, and I think it's still going on today because I see signs around town. Now maybe those businesses have shut down and they haven't taken down the signs, but usually if you see signs like that, usually it's one of two things. It's either continually working,
right,
or they went out of business and forgot to take down the signs. But I think there's that. It's what I call the surfer who's waiting for that wave, and what's the next wave. We know that artificial intelligence, we know voice, we know all these different things are coming, And so how are you going to capitalize on that? I think there's the inventor. Somebody that sees something like, I think one of the best inventions of all time, is, at least money-wise, was the little smiley face scrubby thing.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that? I'm like, what's the chances? But somebody saw that there was trouble and said, what can I do to beat the trouble? Like, bat game.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, I'm going to top this, so to speak. And I think there's the innovator entrepreneur. And so, which is a little bit tough for me, because who truly innovates? Like, I'm trying to think, like, okay, a caveman back in the day, what did he do? He pushed somebody down and he got on some rocks and he was rolling. He goes, oh, this would be good to, make a car. I mean,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think there's stuff that happens, but I do think there are the innovator entrepreneurs. So those are the kind of the four primaries, the way I see it.
Yeah.
But in the end, they all have, I think, this ability to take something and to make it better.
Got it. And so the next one is, can you define or talk to us about successful basic traits of a entrepreneur? But I think you kind of just talked about that, right? Making it better.
Yeah. So troubleshooting comes to mind. You have to be a really good troubleshooter.
Okay.
I think you have to be creative. I never thought that I was a creative guy, because I used to put that into a world of, like, what I would call the arts, like dance, or I can draw real good, or paint, or sing, or play the piano.
Yeah.
But I was pretty creative, like you said, in intramurals in 8th grade, or all of middle school, really.
Right.
My lesson plans, as as a former teacher and coach, I had a full playbook. There was only like 9 plays in there.
Yeah.
8 of them went to me, because I was fast.
Right.
No, but it wasn't like, hey, go to the corner and I'll throw you the ball. Oh, hey, you go over to that tree and I'll throw you the ball.
Right.
It was like a playbook, and it was like, hey, if you can't run your play, then you need to go on somebody else's team.
Right.
Yeah, we wanted it to be efficient and do different things of that nature. I think caring, people don't think entrepreneur caring. I think that's important. Being empathetic, sympathetic, caring about people, wanting to help. It's not always about the almighty dollar. And I think a lot of times that's what we think.
Right.
And I disagree with that. I mean, hey, money's great, right?
Yeah.
But I look at it as, be more purpose driven. But I think that, some people, one of my mentors said one time, and I agree with him, he said, go do something that makes you a whole bunch of money, even if it's not your purpose or your passion, but then you can turn that into what's your purpose and your passion later.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of different, character traits, hardworking, work ethic, never say, die, get the yes. I mean, I think there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
But those are just a few that come to mind.
Got it. And so for, I guess anyone, doesn't really matter, but I was thinking just a younger age, come up to you and said, hey, will you train me to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Where would you have them start?
I would have them, and I would teach them about underpriced stuff first.
Okay.
So go and get underpriced stuff. That'd be number one. Step 2, find out where you can sell that underpriced stuff. There's all kinds of different platforms.
Yeah. Yard
sales, garage sales, swap meets, Craigslist, OfferUp. I guess they merged with LetGo, I guess.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, LetGo bought an OfferUp, or the other way around.
Yeah, so, but whatever. You got Facebook Marketplace, you got eBay, Pristine Auction, blah, 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 right? But figure out the platforms on where you can sell it. And then the third part of that is make sure that you deliver on the goods. And so we do little special things like we'll write a note to them that says, hey, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do a video.
Okay.
Yeah, with them actually packaging their stuff, and giving it to them.
Nice.
And so we'll do different things like that. And we're doing that because we care about the people, number one.
Right.
We always think of the other person first. But we also know that gives us a chance and a potential to get a repeat customer. Because once you get a customer, take care of them. Because it's much more difficult to get your first customer than to get somebody, make them happy, and they become a repeat customer.
Gotcha.
But that's it. Those are the 3 things, and I would teach them very quickly, in less than probably 20 or 30 minutes, and I would send them off. And then in a week, I'd meet with them, and they could call me at any time and say, hey, what do you think? But let's see how much money you made. And so then from there, I would break it down a little bit further.
Yeah.
So I like to say the first one is touching the bases. So when you hit a grand slam or a home run, you go and touch the bases.
Yeah.
And then if I go hit a single, I got to stay on that base a little bit, look at the first base, my coach. I'm going to do a little bit more of a deeper dive,
Okay.
and or a thorough examination.
Yeah.
So in this case is, I'll ask you, what's about as underpriced as you can possibly get?
I would say free.
That's right.
Yeah.
Free stuff's about as underpriced as you can get.
Yeah.
And so I say, hey, start with yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
So put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Yeah.
What do you have in your closet or in your old toy box or in your, grab that,
Yeah.
get it set up, and then go ask who. Airplane, you put the mask on yourself first.
Yeah.
I love you guys, but I'm not going to go save you next. I'm going to go save my wife and my kids and my mom and, different things of that nature.
Right.
I'm going to go ask them, hey, do you have anything that you would, want to give away to me? Because I'm going to go put it on eBay or Swap or whatever.
Right.
And even on Craigslist, they have free stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to go pick up free stuff. I do it.
Yeah.
If I don't have anything else to do or I'm driving that direction,
Yeah.
I've looked on Craigslist, I'll pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because to me, I look at it and say, for every dollar we make, it's like helping a child, helping a youth.
Got it.
So for me, if I can go and get a bench and sell it for $20, I'm not doing the selling, but I have people that do.
Yeah.
And so we're helping them to make it. We got $20. That's 20 kids that I can help.
Right.
So that's how you find the best underpriced stuff, but then you'll learn. So I walked in to a thrift the other day. I was already doing a business meeting. I walked into a thrift that I guess wasn't supposed to be open. I went through the back door because of COVID, but I went back through there and, everybody was masked up and everything. Anyway, and I picked up a $1 item and I had one of my guys sell it on eBay for $100. Right?
Yeah.
That's to me a net 99 kids that I just helped.
Right.
So, that's kind of, going a little bit more thorough.
Yeah.
But to me, I just educated somebody, I don't know, less than 5 minutes.
Right.
And I would do the same thing with anybody who came and asked me.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot, how to inventory, how to please a customer, how to sell, how to market, how to, a little bit of branding yourself, how to go get stuff, how to be told no.
Right.
People, ooh, he told me no. I'm like, I don't care. I'll go to the next guy. He'll tell me yes.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, then my second question was, how come you have them do that? But you explained why, so thank you.
Well, there's a bunch of reasons, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all, look, we can talk in theory all day long, but the reality is until you go do it, you're not going to be able to be, anywhere close to being good at it or know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I took 5 years to get my college degree, another year to get my teaching credential, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the first day I had some little 8th grade kid go, hey, you. And so after he picked his teeth up out of his head, right, I've had a little talk with him, but there was nothing in my college manual that said, how do you deal with So what's better than real life experience? So you can do all this mindset stuff and you can get organized, which is part of one of my systems. Yeah. But in the end, you better just go do it, which I call Solution Showcase.
Got it. And so talking about a college degree,
do
you think you need a college degree in business to be a successful entrepreneur?
No.
Not
in any way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, so I told you the story, I got 7 years, got another year to get my professional growth, whatever credential.
Yeah.
So I have 7 years and, had my office and had this degree up here, this credential, this, all this. And then I put my little, it was like this big, the size of like a little certificate. I went and got my insurance license.
Okay.
And at the time I was teaching. Actually, I was the program manager of the after school program, but I was doing on the side part-time, I was doing insurance. It was life insurance, but it was kind of like double-ended as a supplementary retirement.
Okay.
And so I was, just from a money perspective, which is a measuring stick. It's not my most important measuring stick, but it's a measuring stick.
Right.
I was making the same amount of money, 6 figures, that I was making, and 15 hours a week that I was making over here. So when I would recruit agents in, I would point at that and I'd go, hey, you could go this route, and in 7 years you can be making $40,000 as a teacher. Right? Or you can go this route and be making double, triple that in half the time if you do it correct.
Got it. And so that's just crazy, right? I mean, everyone thinks that college, especially, maybe not as much anymore, but definitely back in the day,
Yeah.
And are you seeing that maybe tipping the other way to where college isn't important, or do you think people still believe it is important?
Yeah, but I want to talk about a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
So we are accustomed, right, to habits, rituals. We have a way that we roll,
Yes.
so to speak, right? That's why I like systems,
Yeah.
because they're easy to plug into.
Right.
Whether you're super smart, whether you're medium smart, or whether you're dumb as a box of rocks,
Yeah.
you could still plug in. It's the old paint by number,
Right.
right? If it says 1, paint it in blue. If it says 2, paint it in red, so on and so forth, then you get a decent system.
Yeah.
So this is the bigger question to me, and I swear I want everybody, if you don't listen to anything else, please listen to this. Why do you do the things that you do? Is it based off of tradition, or is it based off of choice?
Right.
If it is based off of tradition, which is my thesis on this, that 80-90% of the people do it, is it something that you're doing that's smart? Right. So let's think about this. Let's talk about something that's probably traditional, for most people. Okay.
Yeah.
So typically you're going to eat, and you're going to go put your dishes, and wash your dishes and put them in the dishwasher.
Right.
That would be something that's based off of tradition. Now, some people let them store up and then they do it, whatever. But in the end, that's kind of the process, right?
Yes.
And so would you agree that is something that makes sense? Or do you think, no, maybe that doesn't make sense?
I would think that makes sense.
I would too, right? So you don't go put the dish in the dishwasher and eat with your hands.
Right.
But some people do.
Yeah.
And so the question then becomes, is that traditional thing that you do? Or if you're going to go get in the shower, do you take your clothes off first and then go in the shower?
Yeah.
Right. Most people would.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Some people have stinky clothes they need, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that tradition makes sense. But the best story to outline that is the little girl who goes up to her mom and says, "Hey, why do you cut off the back part of the ham?"
Right.
And she's like, "I don't know. Go ask your grandma."
Right.
And the grandma says, "I don't know. Go ask your great grandma." And eventually, one of them says, "I don't know why those idiots are doing it, but I did it because my pan was too short." Right. But I think a lot of times what we do is we're cutting off the back part of the ham based off of tradition, and it doesn't make sense. So to me, that's the challenge more than anything else when it comes to systems.
Right.
Is let's figure out if we're doing this based off of tradition.
Yeah.
And if it makes sense, great, keep doing it.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't make sense, let's pivot or counter or do something different so that ultimately we may be able to have different or better or whatever type results.
Got it. That makes sense. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And so now we're going to go into what I would call entrepreneurial considerations. And so for someone considering to be an entrepreneur, what would you say the upsides of being an entrepreneur are?
Well, I think to me it's everything. You get to be your own boss. You get up when you want. You go to sleep when you want. You can turn off the phone if you want, which we really never do. If you're truly an entrepreneur, you know that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you have choice, and choice to me is everything.
Yeah.
Right? I want to be able to choose to do this or to do that. Now, I choose to work 15 hours a day.
Right.
But I choose to do that. I don't have to do that. I can retire anytime I want.
Yeah.
But I choose to do that. And so I think a lot of times if you're an employee and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have choices.
Right.
It just is what it is. And all of a sudden, just like with kids, you wake up and they're 23 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like what happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a 23 and a 19, almost a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm like, where'd that go?
Right.
Yeah. And so to me, that's one of the biggest upsides, but there's plenty of others.
Yeah.
You're going to traditionally make more money, if you're working than working for somebody else. I think that you're going to be able to help a lot more people, which is always my number one goal as a teacher or coach is how many people can I help? I tell everybody when we all go to heaven, I want to have the longest line, not because I'm arrogant or cocky, but I want to help the most people. Right. And there was a song about that where the guy was actually sitting like at a table talking to an angel and goes, "Who are all those people?" "Those are all the people you helped." Right. And I'm like, ooh, that's, to me, that's what I want.
Got it. And so, that's a big upside. Like you said, there's other upsides. What would you say the biggest downside to being an entrepreneur is?
That's not how my brain works.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'll look at the negatives, but I'll instantly turn them into a positive.
Got it.
I'll take, lemons and turn it into lemonade.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy, but that's where I'm at, in my brain. So I don't really look at downsides or negatives or whatever. I kind of have the Thomas Edison approach.
Yeah.
He knows 10,000 things of what not to do so he could create the light bulb.
Yeah.
When my kids would come home, we talked about their C's or D's sometimes, but mainly I wanted to talk to them about their A's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you did this well, or you did that great. Or when I was coaching, there were some things you have to work on.
Yeah.
To troubleshooting. But let's talk about the things you do well.
Well, okay.
Water flows where it's least resistant.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we don't do that. We go after things that are really difficult and hard and take a lot of time and time intensive and we don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do that too when it comes to systems and the creation of systems.
Yeah.
But I know in the end it's going to help me 100-fold, 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold people, anybody, like you said, wives, moms, dads, grandmas, sisters, cousins, not just entrepreneurs, not just business people,
right?
But anybody, because if you can put it into a system, systems are about speed and predictability and reliability and all those types of things,
right?
So I'll battle over here, like doing your homework in class type stuff.
Yeah,
I'll battle over here so that I can make it smoother over here.
Got it. And going back to what you said, versus tradition.
Yeah.
Do you think that people, I would say maybe not, but majority of the people like to talk about the negatives. Do you think that's a tradition thing because their parents talked about it and their grandparents? Or, do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, look at, the news.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you go onto the news and see much positive stuff?
No.
No, it's all negative crap.
Mm-hmm.
So if our media is, pounding negative crap, and then, like you say, what's the topic of conversation at a party? Usually about politics or, this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
Which politics don't have to be negative, but typically they are because anytime you pit two sides
against each other.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
I always say you stick two independent people called a marriage in the same room or the same roof, and it's going to be a problem.
Right.
When your 23-year-old gets old enough, he got to get out the house because he's like, I'm not doing your rules anymore. I got to go.
Right.
So I just think that, it's how are you raised, but I also think it's what's out there. That's why I don't watch TV.
Right.
We could be at World War IV with whoever. So I live in Bakersfield. We call it Button Willow. It's like a really little town.
Yeah.
Like 3 people. And I'm like, we could be at war with Button Willow, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think that, that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
Right. I was raised that we saw it wasn't. We're not like, there's no negative. No. We would identify the negatives.
Right.
And if we had to beat those for the big picture, we would beat it.
Right.
But we would also look at the strengths and the positives.
Got it. And so, going back to an entrepreneur, with someone that's, let's say, on the edge, right? They're like, I don't know, entrepreneur, employee, I don't really know, and they came and talked to you. What's a piece of advice or pieces of advice you would give them to sway them either direction?
Well, first of all, I would say, hey, I need you to, turn around and stand right in front of me, back up, and I said, when you hit my hands, brace yourself. And I'd shove the heck out of them, and then I'd say, just go for it.
Got it.
Just go for it. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling you to go quit your 6-figure job and go for it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling you not to do that either.
Right.
I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did it in my way.
Right.
So I'm making 6 figures.
Yeah.
Right. And so I stuck my toe in.
Yeah.
Right. And so I did a little bit part-time, and I was still helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people my classroom has changed.
Yeah.
16 special day kids, PE kids, coaching, after school, now we're helping, tens and millions of youth, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But my purpose and passion in helping people has never changed.
Always been the same.
Always been the same since I've been a little guy.
Right.
It was instilled in me by my mother.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I had a God lens early on.
Yeah.
And he says that. Most of my experiences and stuff were around helping others. That's what we did. That's just how we rolled.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about how people roll or they're a collection of.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did, and I did it over and over and over again. And so I think that that again, it goes back to tradition. I was very fortunate and lucky, right? I was very fortunate and lucky. Now, there's issues there. I had a lot of anger issues as a little guy, right? Because I wanted to be the best in the history of the world as an athlete,
right.
And I was 4'2" and weighed 3 pounds.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But just kept working, kept trying to work through it. And I think we all have to help ourselves first, and then we can go out and we can help others.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is just go do it.
Yeah.
You're a track guy. This ready, aim, or on your marks, get set.
Yeah.
On your marks, get set. If you don't ever fire the gun, ready, aim, fire. If you don't ever go, how are you going to ever know if you can be any good at it?
Good at it. Got it. And so, going in, talking about this COVID-19 situation.
Yeah.
Been, almost, I think, a year and a half now or whatever.
Yeah.
So gonna play both sides. One, do you think, these entrepreneurs, or I think I've heard you say these fake entrepreneurs have really established themselves and stuff. Do you think they'll go away once the COVID-19 situation goes away? So that's my first question. Or do you think that they'll continue to be entrepreneurs?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's based off of necessity. So to me, I'm not trying to be offensive when I call people fake entrepreneurs. But back in the day, I'm not good with dates and stuff, but I think it was late 2009, 18, well, somewhere in there was a big real estate boom.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter who you were. If you were like a giraffe or a bear, you could become a real estate agent and make money. Right. Or, so on and so forth. And a lot of those guys, fake real estate agents, they got in, they got out. Yeah. Right. But they made a bunch of money, but there was, they spent that same money too. But there was no longevity there. Yeah. I think that's a good parallel to say where we're at, whether it's COVID or not. We're on a roller coaster. Right. It's like I tell my family and my business partners and the people that work with us. Most people call them employees. I call them family, basically. Yeah. I say, look, if you start going back and forth, side to side. Yeah. When we're on this roller coaster, we're gonna have a problem. Yeah. But I said, I'll go with the ups and downs with you. Right. Right. Because that's just a normal roller coaster ride. Yeah. But I think that these fake entrepreneurs are people that try to get in, and then they don't really go to work and get some visceral and otherwise understanding of some things. And what happens is that they do get out. So I am concerned for them, and we're almost probably to the point where they're already out. Right. Yeah.
Got it. And so then the second part of that is for the people that have been, this is more for the small business type of people, mom and pop shops, different things like that have suffered through this. Yeah. What is, what do you say to them, or someone, like, how do they get back going? How do they get back on their feet that have lost so much to these Amazons and bigger things that can ship to them? What do they do, or is there anything they can do?
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to go back, and that's what's hard, right? If you've been, at the penthouse before, it's hard to go back to the outhouse, right? And so, like, what I tell people is I'll spend some time in the clouds, but I'm in the weeds, right? As a kid, I used to dumpster dive. I didn't have to do that. I was middle class. But that's where my brain was, because I knew people would throw away crazy stuff. I mean, as a little kid, I'd pick out $50 items, $30, and that's a lot of money back then. That's like a $500 item, and I'd go sell that sucker. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I try to stay in the weeds. I want to stay dirty. Yeah, right. About a couple of years ago, both my kids were like, I want to be an entrepreneur, so I went and bought a thrift store, and because I knew that was the worst possibility of of a store out there. No offense to any thrift store owners, but it's tough, right? Yeah. Got to move stuff around. You're dirty stuff. I mean, it's just whatever. But I wanted to show them, like, are you sure? Talking about the fake entrepreneurs. Yeah. Are you sure you want to do this? Right. And so, I think it's that kind of stuff. You may have to go back to the weeds, go back to step one, and figure it out. But more importantly is to figure out that you better have an online presence. Right. So my wife, this little cabinet door got broke somehow. I didn't kick a trash can. No. When the Steelers lost, I didn't do that. Yeah. Because I'm mild mannered. Thank you very much. And for some reason, this this trash can went into the, right?
Yes.
And anyway, and so she took it to this mom and pop's place.
Oh.
These guys don't do credit cards.
Oh, wow. Only cash.
No.
Oh.
You can write them a check.
Wow.
And I was like, man, they could bounce check, whatever. But I was
Yeah.
like, whatever. But guess what? They know their limitations. They have very low rent. They're probably not making tons. I think they charge like $40 for this little cabinet. So on or not the cabinet, but the door.
The door,
yeah, and so on and so forth. And so, first of all, you should never live outside of your means.
Right.
I call that prevention. I'm into that,
Yeah.
not intervening. But the people that do have to intervene, they may just have to go back to scratch, or some of them may have to go be an employee for a while until they get back on their feet. Go live with your mom and dad again. Go whatever.
Yeah.
People have so much pride, self, and ego.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, we had 3 lines.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to completely do away with 1 line because of COVID. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good.
No, right.
Well, I'm not crying about it, but I was smart enough to have 2 other lines
Yeah.
and live within the means of where I have half a line. That's where I live,
Got it.
right? I buy
Yeah.
the same $7 shirts
Yeah.
because that's how I roll.
Mhm.
I don't need a $100 shirt.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, wherever you're at, it's a roller coaster. Things go up, things go down. You can make $1 million a year, you can make 10 million, but it may come down to where you're making 100,000 a year.
Right.
So be prepared for all of those things.
Got it. And before we move on to the next one, is there any other considerations or anything else you would like to share that I didn't ask you about?
No, I just think, look, if you're an entrepreneur, figure out, are you the person that just jumps all the way in?
Yeah.
One of my sons, idiot 23-year-old,
Yes.
I'm watching him run off the roof doing a gainer into a pool. And I wanted to severely beat him, but he was out of the house, right? So to me, but I respect that at some level, although it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because you could slip and broken neck and all that.
All that,
I'm like,
yeah.
It's not worth it to me, right? But to each their own. But some people like that. They're just like the risk adversement is just there, and it's you go through and you go.
Yeah.
Then you got the little chickens like me, that was more of like a little toe guy,
Yeah.
right? And then you got everywhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole world over here that will never go. They won't even stick a little toe in.
Right.
They're like, oh, it might get wet. I'm like, no, it is going to get wet, and it may get bitten off by an alligator.
Yeah.
But the other thing could be is that you might kill that alligator and you open up your own shoe company,
Right.
too, right?
Yeah.
So how will you know unless you go for it?
Right.
And so that's why I say, stand right here. I'm gonna shove you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, go for it.
Same thing I did with my kids when I was teaching them to swim. I just threw them in the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, hopefully they'll bob up because I don't feel like going to jail because they didn't, and you're going to thrash and do, and you'll figure it out.
Right.
And that's most of the time.
Yeah.
Now, if you can have a mentor that can help you, please do.
Yeah.
If you can get a system that can help you, please do. If Van Gogh lives next door to me
Yeah.
and I want to learn to paint, I'm going to go try to find him as a mentor.
Right.
If I don't have somebody that can mentor me, then I'm going to go find somebody who can mentor me from afar, teach me a system that I can plug into, and that I'll be successful.
Got it. And that makes sense. I mean, if you want to be the best, you learn from the best.
There you
Or
go,
someone
baby.
Close enough. Got it.
I got to tell you a quick story on
Yeah.
that. So I had a 59-2 team. There was 3 7th graders that played up on the 8th grade team their 7th grade year.
Okay.
And man, these guys walked around like, like they were all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, okay. So we live halfway in between like Sacramento and LA.
Right.
And so LA has, 20 million people.
Yeah.
Right? And we're at like 500,000. And we got a great sports town, so don't get me wrong. I mean, it's competitive as heck.
Right.
It's serious stuff around here.
Yeah.
Well, they were yapping, in the summer and this and that. And we were beating teams by 30, by 50, 59-2. You can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, they got cocky in the summer, and I go, you know what? I'm tired of you guys yapping. Let me show you what the real world's all about.
Yeah.
And so I took them over the hill, and we won a lot more games than then we lost. I think we were like, 7-3 or 8-2. But these are, my kids could almost dunk a basketball. Every team down there, you had kids that were dunking, and they were just amazing.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. It's like, go to the next level.
Yeah.
Go to the next level. Your senior year in high school, you were, one of the top 3 in the whole nation, and you would have won USATFs if you would have went there. You decided to go to the AAU route.
Yeah.
But you were able to compete at a high level.
Right.
So when you did your little meets around here, you're like,
a lot different.
yeah. It's a sleeper situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, let's go compete against the best, and let's find out what we're really about.
Yeah, got it. And so now moving into entrepreneurial types. You talked about them a little bit earlier, so if you could, kind of refresh our memory about that again, and then we'll go into each one or, a couple of them and talk about that.
Yeah, so I just think there's the business type, and they can do startups, they can, get businesses and grow them, they can get businesses and maybe that are already grown and need to be scaled, or maybe they can grow them and then scale them or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I think there's, what I would call the trenders. They're going to capitalize on a trend. It may be cash for gold. During COVID, it could be mask. It could be, different things of that nature.
Yeah.
And just on a sidebar with those people, to me, the people that are the entrepreneurs, which is fine, it's great and all that see the thing that's right in front of you, I'm like, oh, cool, yeah,
Yeah.
But the people that see something outside of that is those are the kind of guys I like.
Right.
So as an example, everybody and their mother knew that solar was going to hit, 15 years ago, or whatever it was. And so everybody's like, I got to go get into solar paneling. But it was the people that were able to figure out, hey, these guys are going to go in there and get it in, get out. They're going to thrash these people's roofs. So I'm going to do a maintenance business on the side and go in and fit, or like with sports cars. Everybody and their mother, I got 4 rooms full of sports cards and sports memorabilia. Okay, everybody and their mother wants sports cards right now, especially basketball, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I should get into the protection of those cards business. Right? Because I don't want to look at what everybody else is looking at. So when everybody else is driving a, BMW or a Mercedes or whatever, I'm like, I'm going to go drive a Jaguar. Right. First of all, it's $50,000 cheaper, which I like. And, now I just drive a truck. But when you're a financial advisor, you have to look the part, unfortunately, which isn't much in my alley, but it made sense at the time. So I just think that there's, a lot of that. And then I think the other two are what I would call the innovators and the inventors. So the inventor is somebody that sees a challenge and goes, okay, I'm going to invent this product or this service or whatever, and beat it. And then the innovators, that's always a tough one for me. It's like we used to do, when I would do my leadership classes, we would do normed agreements, and they would go, oh, we got to be on time. What do you think's important for this next, hour, day, or whatever we're going to be together? Well, and they all say, be respectful. And I was like, I hated that one, because I'm like, well, if you were in my house, you would not think Monopoly was very respectful. It was a full fist fight. We got the Greek 300s that are trying to win at Monopoly, boards flying all over and wacky dumb stuff like that. Or like we used to argue passionately, like we would debate, like it was full on, like these politicians, we would just shred them. Right, because that's what we did in our house. We back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No, the bat story again. Right, and so that may not look very respectful, but to me it was. I feel like that with the innovators. Can you innovate? Yeah, but typically, as we talked about, it's something that's already there and you're just going to tweak it, which I call more the inventor. Got it.
And so, first question is, in the decathlon, that's what I did, as you brought it up. There was things that came natural, right? So the hurdles were natural. The 400 was not natural. Would you agree that happens in for everything, that some things come natural versus unnatural?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what do you think was natural for you when you first started out as an entrepreneur between those different types?
Well, I think that I saw a lot of trouble growing up. Okay, so I was 4 foot nothing and weighed nothing. And you want to be the best athlete. Well, figure it out. If I'm 4 foot and you're 5 foot and we're both in 4th grade, who's going to win basketball?
Right.
Probably you.
Yeah.
Now, I got my fair share of wins,
Yeah.
right? Because I learned systems to beat people. I practiced harder. I had work ethic. I had different things of that nature.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, everybody is going to have their strengths and their weaknesses. And so as long as my weaknesses I knew wouldn't be 100% detrimental, then I would focus in on my strengths. But what I will tell you is this: when you get to the championship level,
Yeah.
the 59-2 teams, the 10-0 teams, the 50-0 teams, the world champion teams, the negatives will bite you.
Right.
And so we're going to find out this weekend with the Buffalo Bills. They can't run the ball,
Yeah.
and usually that will probably bite you. You probably have to run the ball. Now, it's changing, so maybe not as much.
Right.
But I'm just telling you that the only reason we weren't 60-1 is because the one guy that I told him he cannot get in foul trouble. I told him all year. I told him for 2 years. He was in 7th grade too. And in a positive way, because you can't say don't do this. Your brain doesn't process the negative.
Yeah.
I said, hey, you got to stay in the game. You got to keep your hands straight up. You got to move your feet. Different things of that nature. So I didn't say, don't foul or
Right.
whatever. So I did it in the correct manner. He still fouled out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people do as entrepreneurs or people in general. They foul out because it's easier to go, oh, well, it's not my fault. I just fouled. No, it is your fault, idiot.
Right.
Move
Yeah.
your feet.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so, with seeing a lot of trouble, do you think that helped you become a good inventor because you saw troubles in inventions, and so that made you so that gave you the opportunity to build a better invention?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of people that see a lot of trouble. Their mom was an alcoholic, their dad was a molester, their auntie was a whatever, their uncle, right?
Yeah.
But they don't turn the lemons into lemonade. So I think a lot of people stay there and they use it as a crutch their whole life. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, I saw so much trouble.
Right.
That's why I wanted to teach.
Yeah.
I saw that I could help.
Yeah.
And so if you can turn that, then who's going to win? Who's going to win? If I see 10,000 troubles in a month and you see 100, and we both you go correct your 100 and I go correct my 10,000, who wins?
Yeah.
Every time slam.
Yeah.
These kids are locally can compete with you, and you didn't even have one event.
Right.
I mean, think about if you just would have pole vaulted. I don't know, 17-1, high 16s. That's pretty good as a non-beach person, California person, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just think that it's not just the trouble; it's what you do with it.
Yeah.
And so, I became a great trouble, but it sucks partially, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the shower the other day, and those little things that you stick on the window and has the mirror?
Yeah.
Well, that sucker kept falling off. And so after I threw it outside, I invented something that will be coming out on the market in 2025.
Yeah.
Right? But that's just my mind. So I like it. To me, it's a blessing. But to others, it could be a curse because you're constantly thinking of, how can I solve this? How can I resolve this? How can I systemize this? How can I formulate this? How can I?
Right.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly comfortable in my own skin. My wife, however, she says, for 23 hours and 52 minutes a day, I will not talk to you.
Yeah. Got it. That makes sense. But that would be tough on a lot of people.
Oh, man.
And it'd be tough on you as well that has to point out the trouble because
No.
no one likes to see trouble or hear trouble.
Well, and the funny thing is I tell everybody, because I'm pretty blunt and straightforward,
Yeah.
and I'm a teacher. I want to teach you a lesson, right? But I tell them, if you saw my tongue, I bite it all the time. Because I realized that I would drive everybody away. Right?
From the...
Yeah, so I bite my tongue a lot more than people think. And I tell them, I say... I probably have, 50 billion stitches on my tongue because I've been biting it. And they're like, no, you told me 4 things today. And I'm like, yeah, but I saw 400. Yeah.
Right. And so, going back to the types, if you could just, the strengths could go on and on, the weakness could go on forever. Yeah. But for each one, could you give one strength and one weakness for, business owners, inventors, stuff like that?
Yeah, but I think I would just say as an overall.
Okay.
Because I think it's one and the same. And again, You know, we can say, oh, business and innovators, and but let's go moms and dads and grandmas and sisters and cousins. I mean, this is just across the board, right?
Yeah.
The bottom line is that, do you have some self-awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of times people think when they do something, who they are is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not who you are, it's what you did.
Right.
Now, here's where it becomes a problem. If what you did continues to be the same negative pattern over and over again,
Yeah.
then probably it does become who you are.
Not what you did.
Yeah, but I don't ever look at it. I try to prevent,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm biting my tongue. And so when I let it out, you know, I don't feel great about it. People say, oh, well, no, I don't feel great about it. But I feel great that I would be trying to help that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not doing it for selfish reasons. Because if I needed you to, you know, flush the toilet because you didn't flush after you went to the bathroom, I'll go flush it myself. I was already in there anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to teach you a lesson for the bigger picture.
Right.
Because, you know, especially if it's your kids or somebody that I count all my employees and all my students, my kids.
Yeah.
You know, I may only get another month of what I call swipes, trying to teach them,
Uh-huh.
trying to work with them, trying to educate them.
Yeah.
Because when they're gone, they may or may not choose to come back to you. Because remember, the mentee chooses the mentor, not the other way around.
Right.
So I'm always going to do the best I can every single time, because I realize that it may be the 407th time that I say something to somebody that they go, oh, and then that helps to change their family dynamics or their, you know, position in life or the money they make or. Yeah.
Got it. And so, you know, could you share with the audience your favorite entrepreneurial deal, just anything like that?
Oh man, I've had a bunch. So I maybe I'll give you three. I'll give you like a low level one, but they tickle me in the same way.
Okay.
Right. So I went in and I saw this action figure thing. It was about the size of that microphone, you know, maybe 10 inches. And I had no idea what the heck that thing was, but I liked it.
Okay.
His eyes were all like, you know, he was all jacked up and stuff. And so I picked it up for $1, and I just set it on, you know, I got man cave stuff, and so I just set it there. And somebody came in and goes, hey, that's whatever, I don't remember what they said. And they go, that's worth a lot of money. So I looked it up. It was $150.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know, to me, that's an entrepreneurial thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it for money. I just liked it, and it happens to work out. That happens a lot for me.
Yeah.
Right? That's that purpose thing. Are you doing this because your purpose, you know, is it purposeful? Are you passionate? So on and so forth.
Right.
So that was fun for me. And I've had a bunch of those. I used to collect the old, like, laced basketballs when I was coaching basketball, like from the 20s and 30s. I used to go out to swap every week, right? Oh, grumpy old man. He goes, mother effer this and mother effer that. And he throws this. He goes, here's a football for you. I want $15 for it. Well, it was mashed up. And I knew right away, this ain't no football. This was a basketball. But it looked like, you know, it was a football. Well, when I, you know, got it expanded, it was an old Wilson, and the laces were on the outside. And I sold that thing for $500 on eBay. And this was like 20 years ago. That's probably a $2,000, you know, deal now.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of those where, you know, what I call it merchandise stuff that somebody else has created, I purchase and then, you know, do that. And then let's say, I'll go with the startup. So we took a startup, and we still have that company, and it was $0 and 0 cents, right? And that company has wound up helping, I think we're at like 43 million to whatever, a large number we've helped the youth. So what we do with this company is we go help the adults who work with kids, primarily in after-school programming.
Okay.
But we can do it with K-12 education or whatever.
Okay.
And so, and it also helped around like 7 to 10 million adults. I'd have to look at the exact number right now.
Yeah.
But I mean big boy numbers.
Okay.
Right. And so we were able to take that company from helping just whoever we were teaching. So I used to say, I had 10,000 students and 223 employees when I was working in the school district.
Yeah.
And so now, we've 20, 30, 40 times that over a 10-year period.
Yes.
So to me, that's about as amazing as it gets.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So the $1 to $100, that's fun.
Yeah.
But helping those kids, because I get to think like, hey, all those kids and those adults
Right.
may be in my line.
Yeah.
Right. Which would
Absolutely.
be really cool. And then let's say a third one was actually it was about the thrift store. We took that over. It was making, and this is more of a financial number, but we took it over. It was making some stupid number like $1,000 a month or something, and we turned that to a lot more than that in a month. Yeah, and we did it less than a year. And so I have systems, as you well know, company systems, holistic systems, individual systems. I have processes, routines. I have cycles. I mean, I got stuff. Right.
Right.
We just plug in. And so last story would be pre-COVID, we opened up 3 businesses in 1 year, and all profitable within the year, which is pretty rare. And we didn't what I call supplanting, or we did some in-kind matching, but no supplanting, meaning I didn't take money from the other business to get them going.
Got it.
We started them from scratch.
And then,
Yeah.
Right.
And so to me, I try to categorize, 3 ways. How many people can we help?
Yeah.
How much money can we make? And then the third one is how many things can we give away, or can we get with the nonprofit that we work with?
Got
right?
it. Yeah.
So to me, that's cool when you could go and say, "Hey, here's $1,000 worth of shoes, track shoes to a group of high schoolers that never had anything new in their life." That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Awesome. And so now we're going to move on to the entrepreneurial characteristics.
Yeah.
And so I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to talk about born versus made. So I think that you were probably born an entrepreneur versus your kids who probably weren't, who try to become one. And I don't know if they are or aren't, but do you think that you're either born one, or do you think you can be made into one?
Yeah, I don't think it's a either or situation. I think it's, more of a both and.
Okay. I
don't know. I mean, maybe I was born. I mean, I have some talent, right?
Yeah.
I have some art, but I don't think that I don't think that I have a talent of an 8-foot high jumper, but maybe a 7'2" high jumper. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's national class, but it's not world class. I don't think I'm world class in regards to just the art that I have behind me, right? Now, I think there's certain things that I have that could be world class.
Yeah.
Right? I see trouble, and I'm able to fix it really quickly. And then I got to practice that a lot as a coach. You got 30 seconds, dude.
Right.
You got to do it in real time. You don't have time to come back and go, I mean, you get halftime, but it's not very long, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be in the moment. So I think that, and let's back up a little further too.
Yeah.
So you right now, the audience right this second, me right this second, we'll triangulate the data, right? We are a collection of our genetics / DNA. We are a collection of our environment.
Yeah.
How we were raised and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We are a collection, if you're lucky enough, of what I call a God lens.
Okay.
Right? That you happen to have a God lens that you look at.
Yeah.
Over here in the secular world, if you have great parents, you have a good moral lens.
Right.
But you have this God lens. And then the other two are what I call circumstances and experience, and experiences. So, circumstance, and I'll flip them. The experience says I'm going to experience this probably over and over and over again, right? So if my dad's an alcoholic and he comes home and he beats me, I'm gonna over and over and over again, right? If I have a mom that comes home every day and hugs the crap out of me and tells me how great I am and love him every day, that's over and over again, more habitual. Right?
Yeah.
Customary. Then you have these things over here that I call circumstances, which don't always have to be negative, but typically they are, which is more of like a one and done. So I always bring up the Mothers Against Drunk Driving lady. I don't know her.
Right.
I don't know if she's a type A whack job personality that's going to go out and solve the world's problems.
Yeah.
But whether she was like my wife, who's like Mother Teresa and chilled, right? I go like this. oh, okay, you got 3 heartbeats in a minute, right?
Yeah.
She's just chilled. She's the opposite of me. I'm hyper. She's chilled, whatever.
Yeah.
You go mess with her kids, she'll make me look like a little punk, right? So those are circumstances, mothers against drunk driving, somebody runs over your kid or something like that. You could go to a whole nother level. And to me, no matter what the reason is,
Yeah.
you can still be effective.
Right.
You with me on that?
Yes. Got it. And so, you talked also a little bit about this one. You said that you can either put your pinky in.
Yeah.
To be, if you're the employee, that, or you could just jump full force.
Yeah.
What do you think most of the people probably do that are employees that are becoming one? Do you think that they jump in full force and don't really think it through, or what do you think?
I don't think they do it.
No, they don't do it at all.
You remember? I think it was called Collateral, with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
So Jamie Foxx is a taxi cab driver, and Tom Cruise was a straight up killer. I think most people are like Jamie Foxx. So he would pull down his little, to stop the sun visor thing, whatever, and he'd have this limousine business that he'd been thinking about for years, 7 years, 8 years, 9, 10 years, whatever, right? And he's the ready guy.
Yeah.
Ready, aim, or just ready. On your marks, get set, but never fired, never, go, right?
Right.
And then Tom Cruise comes in, he doesn't do any of that, doesn't plan, doesn't think, he's going to start shooting people.
Yeah.
Well, at the end, Jamie Foxx gets the message, I better just start shooting folks or this guy's going to kill me.
Yeah.
So he just starts shooting.
Right.
Right? And so I think that's the biggest problem is that people are too afraid, whether they're an employee or whatever, wherever they're at, in sports, as a mom, as a whatever, to try something different.
Yeah.
And to me, when you try something different, then, which is part of my individual system, collect data on that.
Yeah.
Figure out what you like and then celebrate. Figure out what you don't like and adjust or make pivots. And then if you're undecided about it, start questioning to make it one of the two.
Right.
But I think that just most people don't.
Got it. And so then that leads perfectly into, what do you think holds them back from acting?
I think it's fear, but not. I think that even if it's 50.1, 49.9, I think it's fear of success more than fear of failure. Most people just say it's fear of failure. I don't think that's the case. I think that people are infinitely powerful and smart and talented that beyond we can't even understand.
Yeah.
So, it's projected that we use 10% of our brain. Dude, we're pretty smart. We're pretty smart people.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've been to the moon and beyond.
Right.
I still can't figure out even when the landlines were there, how can I talk to you in Europe through this little line?
Yeah.
Let alone now, like that just whacks me out. Now it doesn't because I got a God lens, and if the angels are 50 billion light years away, and they can get here like that, so I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense, but it's still kind of
different.
Yeah,
weird.
right. Or just something simple. You turn this, your faucet, you pull it to the right and it's cold, you pull it to the left and it's hot.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Right.
And we're using 10 and 11%?
Yeah.
Come on, man. And so let's just think about, the old boiling point. I think it's like 212, the water, and then or 211, it's not boiling. So just, that. Or like, what about your world? 1/10, 1/100th of a second.
Yeah.
Difference between gold and nothing. So when you take a look at that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, we have such this amazing power, but we're too chicken crap. We're too afraid to be able to just go do it. Right? And if your go do it is put your little pinky in, then go do it that way.
Yeah.
If yours is my idiot son, then you do not a front flip or a back flip, but a gainer off the roof into a pool that's 90 yards away. Then don't ever do that again. But go do that. And if you're somewhere in between, then go do that. But do something.
Yeah.
Don't be Jamie Foxx and wait 2 hours or for you 8 years or 10 years to do nothing,
Yeah.
and then go, I better start shooting people.
Right.
And that's why I mean the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. Well, then this major thing happens. Now they start shooting, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, with risk, right? I mean,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, there's risk involved.
Yeah.
Do you think, let's say we take risk out, no risk.
Yeah.
Do you think that there would be more people that would become
Oh,
entrepreneurs?
absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely. There'd be more of a bunch of stuff. There would be people that, potentially, and I say potentially, that could make Michael Jordan and LeBron look silly on the basketball court. Right? I bet you there's a lot of players in those New York parks that could flat wipe the street with them. I know they are one-on-one. Right? Now, I don't know. Michael, he's got such a hard head, but you get my point.
Yeah.
But they don't understand team ball, or they're too busy, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But think about that, right? There's guys that can jump up and touch the top of that backboard. That's sick.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is very sick.
Yeah, I mean, that's sick.
Yeah.
Right?
So then, what do you think? I mean, obviously, what separates people from being it is that they outweigh the risks or whatever. But do you think that is a chemical imbalance in your head or anything like? You know what I mean? I mean, what do you think separates you other than obviously the separate? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let me call my son real quick and see why he's doing gainers off of the thing. Right? I mean, but I know that he had a natural tendency to enjoy that. That's why he liked the pole vault.
Yeah.
Right? He liked to be upside down. He had good spatial awareness. So there's that art or that talent side. And so, I don't know. Is it the chicken before the egg or the cart before the horse? Is it that he had all these talents and stuff and that helped him with his mentality? Or did he have this mentality and helped him with, I don't know.
Right.
I just know the guy could do things, getting upside down that most people couldn't do. Right? And so, if you look, and the thing that really excites me are the people that basically, which is a dumb statement, how can you go up and beyond how good your talent level is? But I mean, I do think that people do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I dig those people. You
Right.
know, hey, I'm excited for LeBron and Michael Jordan. They're ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Mahomes, these guys, they're great. But what about like the Steve Taskers of the world? You don't even probably know who Steve Tasker
No.
is. He's a little old idiot. I think his son played, but anyway, he's Chad Beebe he's a little itty bitty guy.
Yeah, I know that name.
Yeah, and he was one of the greatest special teamers of all time. Or they did that movie on the Philadelphia Eagles guy.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg played him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I dig those kind of people.
Yeah.
Because not everybody can be LeBron. And I think that's why, like, if you talk about Curry, the reason people gravitate towards Curry is because he just looks like a normal dude walking the street.
He seems like you could be him.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Until he starts raining threes from like the fifth row and then the
Right.
ninth row, right?
Yeah.
But he's a normal looking guy.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing with, comic action figures.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man, the reason people like Spider-Man, he was a normal dude.
Right.
And then he got bit by a spider and he kind of became a little abnormal.
Right.
Superman's cool, but he came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker, he just was like hanging out with his grandma, gets bit, and now, but what about the people that don't have any of that? Like Batman. He didn't get bit by no spider.
Yeah.
Now he did have money, so he was able to get a lot of gadgets. But the point being is, those are the people that excite me, and those are the people out there in entrepreneur land that there's a bunch of them out there that are waiting, and if they continue to go ready, set, or bump set, and all those types of words, and don't spike or don't go or whatever, then think about what the world's missing out on, because they can be amazing.
Right. Absolutely.
Hey, can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah,
about
absolutely.
So we were in our after-school program, and I don't cry, so you guys can kiss it. But I do have allergies sometimes, right?
Yes.
So we talk about underpriced. We get this guy that was doing choreography for, like, I don't know, American Idol. I mean, he was like a big time.
Yeah.
And I forget why he had to come down here, but this guy was amazing. And so he does this middle school production, and me and my mom were there. She was the program director. I'm the manager.
Okay.
And we're watching this gal dance, dude.
Middle school girl?
Middle school girl.
Okay.
And me and my mom, well, she was in tears. I wasn't. But, dude, I mean, we're literally almost in tears.
Yeah.
And it was the most mesmerizing. You know, like when you see a thing in the wind that's dancing, like a paper. This chick was freaky, dude. And you were just like, you can't look at anybody else. 50 people. We couldn't get our eyes off of her. So at the end, we said, hey, you're really good, and this is what'll well you up. Her and this amazing amount, tears just start falling. She goes, I didn't know I was a dancer.
Wow.
Yeah. She didn't even know. So if we didn't give her that opportunity, she may never have known.
Right.
How many people out there have some invention, have some innovation, have some business, some idea, some whatever that they could do that can help people beyond measure?
Right.
And they're sitting doing nothing about it. That's disgusting to me.
Yeah.
Just go do it. Who cares if you fall down? Get back up.
You can always learn.
Yeah. I went up 10 spots and maybe about 10 spots in middle school. I was probably the 14th best looking dude around, even at my size. I went up to the best looking girl and I said, I want you to be my girlfriend. She laughed at me and so I went to the second best looking girl in the school.
Probably her best friend.
Which was her best friend. And I said, and she laughed at me. The third one was a capital B word, so I didn't go talk to her. So the fourth one, which was friends with all these two, she goes, yeah, I think you're cute. I get out, I take off my shoes. I go, man, I just went up 10 places, right? I got the fourth best looking, right? So I just went out and did it. Yeah. So I learned at a very young age, like, no, that doesn't mean anything. Matter of fact, it kind of ticks me off, right? Yeah. So I just think that entrepreneur land, or, moms or grandpa, sisters, go do something about it.
Right. Makes sense. Talking about, characteristics and different things like that, I think, and maybe not, maybe this is just a personal opinion, but I think something that's underlooked or overlooked, however you'd say that, is the brainstorming process.
Yeah.
And I know that you have a very intensive one. Yeah. So could you share that with the audience and what you do and how you, view things?
Yeah, very intensive but simple. Like we do everything. Yeah. Comprehensive and simple. Okay. That's kind of our mantra, actually. All right. So whether you call it a brain dump or a brainstorm or whatever. Yeah. Whatever the topic is, something comes up, how to make this shower thing, whatever, right? Or let's do the shower thing. So I'm just going to list everything I can think about. Okay. And it doesn't matter whether it's stupid or not. How they say there's no dumb questions, the only one that you don't ask. Right. So you're throwing out everything. So I'm going shower head, I'm going, wet, I'm towel, I'm just naming all this stuff. Yeah. So let's say I get to about 40 items and I start to slow down. So then I go to row 2, the second step. Okay. Or what I'd call maybe a column 2. Yeah. And I say, okay, let me take something over here and let me start putting like stuff together. Okay, well, there's soap, there's conditioner, there's I'm just sorry about this, but I got to vent. I'm taking a shower the other day. I don't just take a shower and sing because I can't sing. I'm looking around. 47 hair products my wife has. 47 hair products. I do everything with one, lotion. I think I even brush my teeth with lotion. I wipe my butt with it. I do everything with it.
It's your best friend.
Yeah, it is my best friend. It's at the dollar store, right? My wife's got all these, potions and hotions and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, sidebar. Yes. Bird walk is what we call them. So what was the doggone question again?
You had me. Oh, your brainstorm process.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the first one. Just mind dump, get it all out. The second one is that you start categorizing around that. Okay. Okay. The third one is what you do is you take that category, and each of those categories, and some of them may be stragglers. Might be orphans over here. They don't really fit into something. And then what you do is you go category by category, and you start to mind dump again. Okay. Right? And then what you do is you go to the last column and you prioritize how that may look or whatever the case may be.
Right, got it.
So when you go through that, at the end, I came up with 3 or 4 different ideas on how I could beat the problem I was having with my mirror. Yeah. Right? Right. And so am I going to make that a product? Probably. I don't know. I don't know if I'm passionate enough about it, but the idea is there. But if not, then I'll hand it off to somebody who would like to do that. Yeah. Collect my 5% and move on.
Right. Absolutely. And so now, talking about your, brainstorm process,
Yeah.
your brain dump process,
Yeah.
that would lead into you being creative,
Yeah.
right? So what are, like, I don't even know how I want to ask this, but being creative, what does that look like? Because being creative can be multiple things, whether, like you said, dancing, painting, or, different things like that. So what is being creative?
Well, I think, like everything else in life, I think that there's, informal and formal.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that I'm creative just walking down the street.
Uh-huh.
Because why? Because I see trouble.
Yeah.
Like I'm walking down the garage the other day, and I see 17 things that are trouble. Whether it was a crack, whether it was the freaking weed growing through the deal,
Yeah.
And so each time I'm unless I'm doing something else that's really important,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, how can I beat this sucker,
Got
right?
it.
How can I beat this? What can I invent? What can I do? So on and so forth, so on. So to me, that's kind of informally being creative.
Yeah.
Then you have the formal process, which I believe starts with the brainstorming or the mind dumping, right?
Yeah.
But both of them really start typically with this troubled area or something that's really good and you just want to enhance it.
Okay.
Right? So I always use the analogy about Tide, the detergent.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure Tide, the detergent, was just fine when in its original configuration.
Yes.
But now there's new Tide with bleach, new Tide. So you could take something that's really good to it. It doesn't always have to be the negative. And then, of
Right.
course, you can go everywhere in between.
Yes.
So I think there's the informal and there's the formal. And then I think there's the art and
Okay.
the science. And I think that a lot of times people think creativity has to look like I thought, right? I thought, well, it has to look like dance or painting or drawing or music. No. Being creative, you can figure out a lot of different ways to be creative. And, during COVID, and we're getting ready to come out of this post-COVID, have you seen some of those, some of the creativity? Like those two kids, they were on the NFL Network where he was doing that back around and he caught that ball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those two kids are on
Yes.
there, right? Or, you see some of these moms that are that do creative things with how to give their kid a bath, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, typically you think, okay, well, you're going to, give your, like we didn't have those little plastic tubs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My mom put me in the sink until I was big enough to get into but somebody thought, do I really want that little kid's butt
Right.
where my dishes go? And they said no, and so they made that little plastic thing that kind of fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I dig that stuff. Or the straw. Like, I want to know who invented the straw.
Oh, the straw. Got it.
Yeah, not to the point where I'm going to go research because I really don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I like you. Right? Because it makes it easier. So, yeah, because when I don't drink with the straw, it winds up all over me.
Right.
So I'm like, I like the guy that did the straw.
Yeah.
The guy that did the umbrella, I'm like, I don't drink much, so whatever, and it's foo-foo.
Yeah.
But the guy that did the straw, I'm like, cool. But the umbrella looks good too.
Right.
And I'm glad he's making a bazillion on it.
Yeah.
Good for both of you. But the straw guy, I really like
Thank
it.
you. Got it. And so, right, speaking of straws and umbrellas, they
Yeah.
obviously were creative, brainstormed, had their idea.
Yeah.
From there, where do you go?
So I have a system.
A system.
I have a system. Imagine that. So I have a 3-pronged system.
Okay.
So I say charting the course, which is all of that, brainstorming.
Yeah.
Thoughts, thinking, ideas, that whole process.
Yeah.
And then if it makes sense, I'll make a decision or a choice to go to the next one, which I call obvious outlining.
Okay.
And so I'll outline around that. Okay. So, which kind of runs a parallel with my individual system. Mindset,
Right.
right? Get organized, which is kind of the outline.
Yeah.
Right? It makes sense. And then the third thing is we call it prototype packaging.
Okay.
And that's usually where my pay grid stops.
Okay.
So I'll do a lot of charting and outlining.
Yeah.
And the third step is what I call prototype packaging. And that is making the idea come to fruition. So like our last one, or not our last one, but one of our last ones. The last one will be the shower idea.
Yeah.
That I got this morning in my head. But anyway, we did lesson plans with sports cards. So sports cards are getting popular. I loved sports cards when I was a younger guy.
Yeah.
And so I have a curriculum specialist. She's the best. She is the Michael Jordan of curriculum.
Curriculum.
Yeah, she's like, dude, she's woo. right? But she's as smart as you can be, and she does. I mean, I think she's created 3,000 lesson plans for us.
Wow, that's a lot of lesson plans.
Yeah, but anyway, so there's this idea, and so I kind of say it's the vertical steps, and then it goes into this horizontal, which is like a conveyor belt, right?
Yeah.
You know, like Ford Motor Company. I got to spray, I got to do the thing, put in the radio, and so that's what she's able to do. And then we package it. At the end of that, we just take it to friends and family. Go, what do you think? And they go, yeah, I don't know. And then we take it to market, and we go, what do you guys think?
Right.
And you know, the people always speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's as simple as it was. So we were able to do that from A to Z in less than a week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it is, and it's not, because it's a simple system.
Right.
You know, cards, right? I said, it's not the sports cards. What's the auxiliaries?
Right.
Lesson plans, plastics, this, that. That's what I always like to look at, because I want to be different.
Yeah.
I think entrepreneurs want to be different. Yeah. You know, if everybody else was, like I say, back in the day, driving a Mercedes, and I don't want to be like you.
Right.
So, you know, how many 30-year-old dudes in the financial services business were driving Jaguars? The big long one, too. Right? I was like, I'm going to make a statement.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you know, to me, that's what's fun, is that just plug it in and you just paint by numbers, dude.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Speaking of, so now, you know, you prototyped it, right?
Yeah.
For, you know, let's say, obviously now you have the money and you could prototype, but what about back then for someone, or, you know, for you personally, for someone back, or now that doesn't have the money to fund up something like that? What is your advice, or what do you say to them?
Go find underpriced stuff. Put it on platforms that will help you to sell it, such as eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, so on and so forth, right? Treat the people good. Repeat and rinse. Do the same process. Get $1,000 in your pocket. Take the $1,000 in your pocket that you got basically for free. Take that money. Go and invent your own product. It doesn't have to look good. You know, masking tape, electrical tape. Go and do something that's a prototype or a protocol. If you can't do it because it's above your pay grid, then go find somebody. There's plenty of people out there that for pennies on the dollar will create your first product. Then go ask your friends about it and just say, hey, give me the honest answer here. If this sucks, tell me it sucks. If this is amazing, tell me it's amazing. And so we did a new company.
Yeah.
So this is the process I go through.
Right.
So we had 4 logos, right? And so I give it to my inner circle, and guess what they say? Everybody likes a different logo.
Yeah.
Okay. So then most people would go, ready, aim, on your mark. So I'm like, whatever. 10% of the time I make executive decisions, right, wrong, or indifferent. 90% of the time I listen to the people.
Yeah.
Right? 10% I go, okay, I like that one, screw you guys.
Right.
But most of the time, you'd be surprised how many people like the same thing. But there's a lot of subjectivity in there.
Yeah.
I learned that word.
That you did.
I don't know if there's subjectivity. I don't know if that's a word, but I learned the difference between objective and subjective. I'll forget it by tomorrow.
But you learned it
right
today.
this second, I know what it means.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. So now we're going to move into the last section, which is what I would call entrepreneurial behaviors. So the first question is that I think you have yourself, who's an entrepreneur who likes to help people and wants to help people.
Yes.
Then you have the others who are in it for themselves and want to make money and that different thing.
Yes.
Is one more right than the other?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think if you're a donkey, which is what I would call a selfish prick, then I think you may win in the short term. But I'm going to guarantee you in the long term, you won't win. And when I mean long term, I don't mean necessarily just on this earth. You know. Yeah. You know, I mean, everybody thinks differently about that, you know.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Right.
But my wife calls it karma and all this stuff. I just think that I think that donkeys typically become jackasses, but there are some donkeys that become, you know, thoroughbred ponies. What are those Clydesdales, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, you know, the Budweiser guys.
Yeah, that's
another endorsement possibility. But you know, so I mean, for me now, but I don't know. That's you asked my opinion. Yeah, right? I do not judge.
Right.
I have a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
But to me, and the difference is, You ask me, I'll tell you what I think. A judgment says, oh, it's right or wrong or bad or good. I'm not that guy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What's right for you may be wrong for me, and vice versa, and whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, I think that you help enough people, you're going to be more than happy with your pocketbook.
Right.
Right. And if you're not, who cares?
You helped a bunch of people.
Yeah, you helped a bunch of people, and one day you'll be rewarded.
Right.
Right. I tell everybody, when you go to heaven,
yeah,
and you see the person with the largest crown and the bunch of jewels, it'll be my wife, because she had to put up with me. Right.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
to me, that's way more important than this other stuff. And I think people know, like, right?
No.
Like Malcolm Gladwell, in a blink of an eye, you know if that guy's legit or
right,
if he's full of crap or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know, and of course we're all going to put our, best foot forward on camera.
Yeah.
But I got as many problems as everybody.
Right.
But one of them is not doing something.
Yeah.
Right. I got plenty of other problems, but I'm going to go do something. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stumble forward with ignorant enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I love that saying.
That's a great saying.
It's a great saying.
So not including circumstances like the mother against young brothers or Jesus taking you over, because that could happen. Yeah, Jesus smacks you and you're going to change. Yeah, exactly. Do you think... I think someone that likes to help people could easily turn to someone who just cares about money.
Sure.
Versus, I think, and maybe not, it would be tougher for someone that only cared about money to change to only helping people, or caring about helping people. But do you think that it is possible, not including those things, for that person to change over? Yeah,
and you're saying without a major circumstance.
Yeah, something crazy.
Of course, and I think a lot of people that may have the appearance of being selfish and money driven and all that stuff isn't the case at all.
Right.
Like I said, one of the guys that I listened to, or mentor, I can't remember, he was saying that. He was saying, look, a lot of people are like, well, I got this great idea, but it's not my passion. He's like, so what? Go make up millions of dollars, and then you can make it, you can help passion, whatever. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Help make it your passion. So let's give an example of that. So let's say I was money driven, focused, over here, but I knew one day I was going to, look up and I could come over here and help more kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I decided to do it the other way. I just wanted to help kids. Right? Yeah. That's what I did. And then I became this entrepreneur. Now I can help more kids.
Right.
Because one of my businesses is to help kids.
Yeah.
But all of my businesses support kids.
Right.
All the businesses that make money spend money to help kids. Mm-hmm. So all businesses for me are helping the youth.
Right.
Why do I want to help youth? Now this is selfish, because I was a bad youth. So I want to help people that were like me to be better.
Right.
Right? So that's where I think that selfish part actually is good.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's three parts to us. There's being for self, which is new to me. Mm-hmm. There's selfless, which has been my whole life for the most part. And then there's selfish. And so when you're a little kid and they ask you like, hey, share your toy, I didn't tell my kids to do that, because that's like an extension of who they are. Yeah. It's like, oh, here's my microphone. You and I can process that.
Yeah.
But a kid's like, no,
right.
I'm not sharing my Superman. You can piss off.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and people do these things with kids, and I'm like, no, or like when I'd be in the old Kmarts and stuff, man, they used to hate me in there. So the lady would say to their kid, if you do that one more time, I'm just going to die. So I go and get real close to her about the fourth time I heard that. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I know CPR, so you keep saying to your kid, if you do that one more time, you're going to die. So I'm imagining eventually you're going to be a woman of your word, and when you die, I'm going to try to resuscitate you.
Yeah.
Oh, man, they get so pissed off. Or like when I was in the teacher's lounge.
Yeah.
All these teachers would gripe about the money they make. Right? And it's true. I mean, they should make more money, but I used to ask them, which, I got banned from the teacher's lounge. They said, I go, this is a comical thing in my house. They go, yes, Brett. I just 50 times a day. Yes, Brett. I said, well, excuse me, were you happy when you signed that contract? Well, yeah. And if they would say no, I said, why'd you sign it then?
Right.
They'd all say, yeah, I was happy. I said, well, why aren't you happy? Yeah, why are you bitching and moaning now?
Right.
There's no need to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing with entrepreneurs. Well, I could have, would have, should have. I should have cash for gold. I got to hit this with it. Well, good. Go do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about earlier the mind, right? How powerful we are, 10, 11%, and how strong we are. But I think, as many people would say, it's a double-edged sword. It's also a biggest restriction of ours, because we can never push past it. And what do you, or how do you personally push past it? How do you push past that mental block? Or maybe it's not a mental block, but I mean, there's always got to be a little bit of fear of, man, hopefully this takes off, or, hopefully this doesn't lose everything.
Well, I mean, that's the most interesting thing at all, because people will look at me and yeah, but you're tough, or you're not afraid, or you're not whatever. They think Tom Brady and these guys, they think that they're not nervous.
Yeah.
Going into the Super Bowl in the tunnel.
Right.
You're full of crap.
Yeah.
You're nervous. I don't care if you're Tom Brady, you've done this 50,000 times, right? I mean, you've done 30 of these, 20 of these, whatever. Do you still get nervous?
Yeah.
Okay. But you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? But how many people won't?
Right.
I don't know if people are going to like this.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have something to share that can be helpful to them.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not going to look and go, oh, we have 3 views.
Yeah.
Me, my wife, and my kid. I can't even get my other kid. I can't even get the 4 views, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's not the right timing right now, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But the key is, just like you're doing, you just push past it. So it's not about being afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, okay, I was afraid to go ask. I'm 4 foot tall, man, and I'm going to go ask the best looking chick in the whole school out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's laughable to think back on it.
Yeah.
But I learned early on. Or like with my youngest, we were at Burger King with the Happy Meals.
Uh-huh.
And I go, hey, do you want that toy? He goes, no. I go give it to that kid. He goes, no. I go, yeah, you're going to go give it to his kid. Right? As the older brother,
Yeah.
And he walked over there freaking, oh my gosh. I thought he lost his, his whole family or whatever.
Yeah.
So the kid said no to him. So he comes back over almost in tears. I'm high-fiving him and elbow bumping and coming off the top turnbuckle. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and this kid, like 3 or 4 years old, young, look at me like I have lost my mind.
Yeah.
But what I knew is that you're going to get turned down.
Right.
You're going to be, right? You're going to get frozen sometimes. Yeah. But what I always tell people and entrepreneurs or moms or dad, whatever, be Batman. Mm-hmm. So let's think about Batman.
Yeah.
So he goes down at the bottom of like I don't know. You remember that movie Ring?
Yeah.
Where the girl comes out of that little water well?
Yeah.
Well, basically Batman's down in there.
Right.
And he's surrounded by all these bats.
Yeah.
Freaked out.
Right.
Right? Paralyzed,
Yeah.
What am I going to do? But then he becomes Batman.
Right.
I dig that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's cool, right? So it's not about whether you're afraid. Everybody's afraid. Mm-hmm. But it's about going out there and putting those fears aside enough to where you're able to go and do it. And then on top of that, putting them aside enough to where you don't get tensed up. You know that as a runner.
No.
If I get tensed up, I don't run as fast. So not only do you have to get rid of them, you have to not get tensed up in the process. So not only do you have to get rid of it, go do it, now you can't be tense about it. And those are the people that are successful.
Absolutely. When it comes to sports, right, and there's obviously an age gap that you have to be in to perform at the NFL level, NBA level, and that's usually 19 to 37 now, as we're saying, maybe
43, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Breeze, weren't they both 43 this weekend?
I think Brady's 42 and he's 43 or something crazy like that. Yeah, it was.
I'm 52, man. I could not imagine getting hit by a Chase Young.
No.
And I'm 250.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Or Myles Garrett.
Oh,
that's
goodness.
Yeah. Do you think there's an age restriction for entrepreneurs?
No.
Being an entrepreneur? No. You can be 50 just as easy as you can be 18, 16, whatever.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. We were just talking earlier about the fear thing.
Yeah.
So think about it. If you're going into a second career, right? I think there's a lot of older people that are going into entrepreneurism because they already have their normal, retirement or paycheck.
Yeah.
And so, you can only clean your garage so many times.
Right.
Now, a lot of people go and enjoy their retirement. My wife will just be, she'll just be like, I've been telling her for years, just go ahead and, quit and retire. But she likes it.
Yeah.
And she likes to stay busy at just a very slow pace.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that, to each their own, and everybody does things differently, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think that, what we talked about in the previous section has a lot to do with that answer.
Right. Absolutely. Gotcha. And so before we, close this out, is there anything that under entrepreneur behaviors that you would like to talk about that I didn't ask you or should have asked you?
I don't think so. I just, I'm a dead horse, right? I have the, beat the dead horse. It's the, that saying of it's the same thing over and over. And people go, well, yeah, you give the same analogies. You get, yep.
Right.
Because they work and they're effective.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know what my favorite one was in the last hour, however long we spent, which is go do something.
Yeah.
Right? Stumble forward with ignorant enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, go do something. But I will say, if you can find a live mentor, somebody that can teach you along the way, it'll be easier for you. Mm-hmm. It'll be better. You'll get there, probably quicker and more efficiently and all that.
Yeah.
If you don't have a mentor, go find a system. Right? Go find a system that will help you along the way. If you can find that together, right? Because it's like I used to tell people, I said, look, you're not duplicatable, right? So let's talk about you real quick. So just to give you a little brag on this guy, he was, I don't know, maybe 130 pounds dripping wet in high school, maybe at the end of his high school career, 150 pounds. And he winds up being the 4th best all time in the history of the state of California in the decathlon, 10 events over 2 days. You have to have so many things going, with you and for you, and all of those types of, situations. And yet he winds up being 3rd in the nation. His senior year, he breaks the Valley record that was 17 years old, moves him 4th all time, as I already said, in the 155-year history of California. So you tell me then, you answer that question. What were the things that you were thinking about and doing to be able to get you to the next level? Did you have a system?
Yeah.
Did you have a mentor?
Yeah.
Could you have done it without those?
No.
Could you have still been really good?
Not really good, no.
No?
I could have been good.
Yeah. So, you would have been good at your league.
Yeah.
Right? You'd have been like a good league player. But when you went to Valley and or State,
that would have been
tough, and the nation wouldn't have never even happened.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have never made it over the hill to Los Angeles.
Nope.
Right? And so that's what I tell people. And I think there's a lot of people that want to help people. You just got to go ask. But getting over that fear again, to go ask. But to me, that's the main thing. Find a mentor, find a system. You saw freaky athletes going nationwide.
Yeah.
And did they need a system? Nope.
No.
They were all just freaky talent, what I call, the art side of things. But eventually, it'll stop for them.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. The professional athlete's the one that merges the science, which is the system, and the art, which is the talent. And then if you have a coach or a mentor that will help you, that's a home run.
Home run.
But all of these guys will tell you, I've been around plenty of professional athletes, plenty of, high level CNN type people. Yeah. They'll all tell you the same thing.
Right, absolutely.
They followed some sort of a system, right? Or they had a mentor. Now, certain people can just go do it all on their own. Yeah. And there are certain people that can do that. But for the most part, it's a rare bird. Yeah. You have to just be freaky. Right. Everybody needs some help.
Absolutely. Before we move on to bonus questions, last minute or so.
Bonus questions.
Is there, other than, or it could be, just do something, just the last hurrah for the audience?
Yeah, either, if you can't find a mentor, you don't want to, go and figure out a system, create your own. Start with mindset, do something around getting organized, go do it, collect some data on it, thoughtfully advance. Obviously the system has more to it. Yeah. But in the end, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, I would say, so if there's 2 things I would say, go do it. and do it within a structured system. If you happen to find a mentor that can help you, you're in, baby.
You're in, baby. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
Is that face the right way? This one.
I think so. I don't know.